Today we're going to be tying a chocolate RS-2, a fly that I discovered on the San Juan in New Mexico. A guide put us onto this fly, and mainly it's used as a dropper from an tractor fly. And today we're going to be using a size 16 hook. Normally you tie 18 to 24 size hook. And the ones I used in New Mexico did not have a bead head, but we're doing this just for demonstration purposes. So we've got the bead on the hook, and I'm going to use the Nor bobbin with the dark brown thread in it. We're going to use brown barbels off a brown hen feather, and that we'll use that for the tail. And I've got some double-sided foam tape here, and I'm gonna cut just a very slim piece of the foam tape, and that will be used for the post on the back of the fly. So we're gonna get started now. I'm gonna make a few wraps with my thread right behind the bead head. Now I'm gonna cut my thread off. I'm going to take a piece of copper wire and we'll slide that up in the bead head and not stick it out past the eye where it blocked the eye, and we'll tie that copper wire down. We'll go all the way back to the bend of the hook. Now then, we've got our copper wire tied in there. Now then, I'll pull off 4 or 5 barbels off the feather, like that. And we'll tie those in for the tail of the chocolate RS-2. I'm going to trim off that little excess bit there. Okay, now from this point you want to build up this is a very simple fly, and it's very similar to the zebra midge. At this point we're going to build up the body of the chocolate RS-2. We'll go up almost all the way to the bead and come back. Now what we're wanting to do is build a tapered body. So we'll go forward again. We'll come back not quite all the way to the end, go forward, go back not quite all the way to the end again, and come forward. Now that's about as much as we need on there. This is a very sparse looking fly. Now then, I'm going to cut off a piece of the double foam tape, a very skinny piece of it. Okay, there it is. You can see it. Now then I'm going to tie it, and this will be the wing post. I'll tie that down, and then I'm going to come around behind it a couple of times. Then we'll come back front. We want it right up on top of the back. Now then, I'm going to stretch that foam tape. Now then, see how short the wing case is? Just barely showing there. Now then, I'm going to take the hackle pliers and grab this wire. Well, I'll use the little wire cable holder I got from Radio Shack. These things work great for hackle pliers. Just push that up, and then I'll grab my wire with that. I'm going to hang my bobbin over the bobbin holder there. Now then, we're going to use the rotary vise, and we'll start segmenting the chocolate RS-2. And just make symmetrical wraps where it'll look really good. I'm going to go around that post on the front side. Now then, I'm going to tie that wire down. Okay, now we've got our copper wire tied. I trim it off as short as I can trim it. Okay, I trimmed it off, and now then we'll go ahead and build up behind our head where that bead will not slide. And I'm going to just take a homemade bodkin here. I've got a hole in it big enough where it'll fit over that bead. So I'm going to make 2 wraps, put it over the bead, and tie my knot. 2 wraps over the bead and tie my knot. 2 wraps over the bead and tie my knot. Now that should have the bead, and it will not move. Now it's tied on there good. Now then, I put tension on my thread and cut my thread, and the knot is tied, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of head cement on there to make the fly a little bit more secure. Okay, and my thread did come undone. I'm glad I put the head cement on there. Now there is your chocolate RS-2 fly, and you can use this as a dropper below an attractor fly. When we were on San Juan, New Mexico, we used a 18 to 20 San Juan worm above, and we used that about 6 to 12 inches above the little chocolate RS-2. You can fish it by yourself. You can fish it under an indicator. Most people fish it under an indicator, and it's better used as a dropper fly, but you can fish it individual just like you would a zebra midge. Thank you. How'd that go?